That is why the very first thing they do, in the very same year that you are saying that they wanted, that we chased out ANC, is the very first thing that they did is they went and they took arms at what we call the Cranbourne Barracks. They went and put bombs at KG6 in December of our very first year of independence. That very same December, they went and bombed they went and bombed the ZANU-PF headquarters, trying to kill Mugabe and ZANU-PF for supporting ANC and MK. From there, they would then come in 1981. The South African military decided to start attacking neighboring countries. The first attack was Mutola. We're not counting the war that they had already started in Angola, where they started Operation Septic. Operation Septic Tank was happening there, while at the same time in Zimbabwe in 1981, they started the Mutola raid and they attacked Zimbabwe's pipeline and Zimbabwe's railway line. Same day of the Mutola raids. Immediately they started their septic tank operation to take what is called, they wanted to take the southern part province of Namibia, so that the fighters from the southern part of Angola, so that Namibian fighters would not continue to be camped there. While they were doing that, they then went to attack Thornhill Air Base. Zimbabwe had an air base that was called Thornhill. We had just bought 12 new jets from British Aerospace. The South Africans saw those jets as a threat to them because it was going to challenge them into the air. So they sent their commandos to collaborate with these whites we had integrated with. They bombed those jets and they destroyed 6 of those jets. So that was a quarter of our Air Force destroyed and disabled. Why were they destroying and disabling it? Why were they destroying our railway pipeline and our pipeline for oil if Zimbabwe had chased away MK? They were being attacked because they were supporting MK. And remember that when Gukurahundi starts, Gukurahundi was about certain people who were ZAPU being disgruntled about being not integrated into the army. But not everybody could be integrated. Not everybody from ZANU-PF was integrated. But when they began to desert from the army and to start creating a dissident movement, to start a rebellion, the South Africans took advantage of that. And they recruited, using the Rhodesians who were still in Zimbabwe and the South Africans who were in Zimbabwe, they recruited certain black people, gave them arms in training camps, made them kill certain Zanla fighters, and then they were taken by helicopters by the South Africans into South Africa to Parabowa to be trained now as a movement that is supposed to come into South Africa. SABC created what is called Radio Truth. Radio Truth in 1983 starts telling Ndebelers that Mugabe hates you and he wants to kill you, so you need to leave Zimbabwe, come to South Africa and stay Kwan Ndebele and create the Ndebele Brigade to fight in Zimbabwe. When that happened, Mugabe did not say, Zipra, stop operating with MK. He said, let us now begin to divide the difference between ZAPU and Zipra, who are part of Zimbabwe, and ZAPU and Zipra who've become terrorists and renegades who are fighting the government and trying to overthrow the government. This is when Geraldine Mulegetse comes in, because Joe Gabi had been killed in 1981 in July. Why was he killed? Because he was a part of MK and he was coordinating MK activities in Zimbabwe. Geraldine then comes in and takes over from him. And she is the one who is then told, good, right, we have 3 factions here. We've got factions from ZAPU that have escaped from the military and they want to start an uprising. They are one people. Then we've got something called Super ZAPU that has been created by the apartheid movement, and they are South Africans who are training people, getting them back into Zimbabwe to try and destabilize the country. So we're fighting 2 wars with our own people, some who are being trained in South Africa, coming in with white commandos, coming in with black commandos from South Africa, trying to destabilize Zimbabwe, killing Ndebelers, trying to make it look like the government of Zimbabwe hates Ndebelers, and then SABC is giving with the Radio Truth the impression that we are killing Ndebele people here. So you need to separate MK from these guys. We will allow you to continue to operate, but make sure you understand the rebel movement we've got here. And Geraldine fixed that. So MK continued to operate within Zimbabwe, continued to have IDs, continued to have passports in Zimbabwe. And they continue to operate until you get independence. Hence, there was the Harare Declaration. While that was happening, Robert Mugabe was the man who was going to the world to articulate, he was the best orator, to articulate South Africa's issue, South Africa's lack of independence, the attacks of the Boers in Southern Africa that were causing problems. That is why you hear in 1987, the ANC headquarters in Zimbabwe was bombed in Avondale. Why would it be bombed if ANC had been dismissed from Zimbabwe?
Can I come in? Because you're missing my point.
Hold on.
Please finish, Rutendo.
I'm about to finish. Point I'm saying is Zimbabwe fought a war in Matabeleland against terrorists because we were stubbornly supporting ANC and MK, and they continue to be there. They were working there. Cyril Ramaphosa's wife was working as a doctor in Zimbabwe. Molege Mbeki was working at the Herald as a journalist. Blade in Zimbabwe was at the University of Zimbabwe. What is his name? Mkize. Zweli Mkize was working as a doctor in the country. There were so many South Africans who were working there. And these camps that you talk about, I asked you, tell me one refugee camp where South Africans stayed. We went to school with Bosemai, we went to school with many South Africans. They were part and parcel of our society. In my neighborhood, Waterfalls, it was bombed there because there was an MK house that was in the suburb that I lived in, and it killed Zimbabweans because we had houses among our people. Why did the ANC and MK prefer to be based in Zimbabwe? Because our defense was one of the best in the region. They felt safer there than they felt in Botswana, which was easy to attack, in Lesotho, which was easy to attack, in Mozambique, which was easier to attack, until the Zimbabweans deployed 12,000 soldiers for this war against the Boers. Now,
let's allow him return. You've given him a lot of facts, and it's going to be tough for him to respond to everything.
I'm just about to finish. So Zimbabwe would not have had to fight two wars in Matabeleland against its own people and terrorists funded by the apartheid government, and a war in Mozambique that started in 1984 and ended in 1992 when you started negotiating at Codes, if we were not supporting the South Africans.